Waiting for the Rain by Kamakshi Balasubramanian. She is an Indian author whose writings are based on different aspects of life in India and its people. In this chapter, we will read about a farmer who waits for rainfall. I hope it rains at least today, Value thought as he opened his eyes. Value was a farmer. The sun was beginning to rise, glowing crimson like fire. Value looked at the sky. There was not a cloud. It doesn't look like there is going to be rain, he muttered to himself and got up. We know that farmers grow crops, and crops need rain along with sunshine to grow and flourish properly. A farmer named Value waited for rain every day as soon as he opened his eyes in the morning. But when he looked up the sky, he saw that there was no cloud and the sun was about to rise very bright. Value was very disappointed and thus started talking to himself that it doesn't seem there will be any rainfall. Rain or no rain, a farmer wakes up early. Value worked hard on his piece of land. Season after season, he cultivated it, harvesting jowar one season and dal the next. Throughout the year, he worked, never thinking of rest or taking a holiday. It had been the same for 6 years, ever since he had got his own piece of land. But this year was different. So, in any weather conditions, a farmer has to wake up early in the morning and go to their fields. Similarly, Value too was a very hard-working farmer. He was much dedicated towards his work. In one season, he used to cultivate jowar, that is a type of grain which is used to make flatbreads or chapatis. And the other season, he cultivated dal, that is pulses. Value got his own piece of land 6 years ago, and since then Value worked the entire year without any holidays. He never thought of taking rest, but this year was not like any other years. Let's read ahead to see why this year was different. At the end of summer, the rains did not come. Value and his neighbors waited, but their waiting did not end. Days, weeks, and months passed, and still there was no rain. The fields were brown, the soil hardened, crusted, and cracked. Every day the farmers hoped that the rains would come. So we learned that this year was different because in this year there was no rainfall after the end of summer season. Value and the other farmers kept on waiting for days, weeks, and even months, but still there was not even a single drop of rain. And because of the absence of rainfall, the fields were not in good condition. The soil got very hard and was totally brown. It started cracking because of dryness. But every day the farmers woke up with a ray of hope in the morning that at least that particular day it might rain. Someone said we ought to sacrifice an animal, a goat, that will please the heavens and the heavens will send down rain. Value did not agree. He said, the rain came all these years without any such sacrifice. How will killing a goat bring rain? One of the farmers suggested that they must sacrifice a goat. That means they should kill a goat and offer it to God so that the gods get pleased and send rain. But Value did not agree to this. He was of the opinion that since so many years the rainfall was constant without any offerings to God. He decided to go to the weather office in the city and talk to someone. But the people at the weather office could not really tell him when the rains would come. We are not sure ourselves, they exclaimed. It's strange that the rain is still not here. Value walked back to the village, tired, thirsty, and unhappy. He decided to rest for a while. So, in spite of believing such blind norms of society, Value decided to go to the weather office in the city and inquire. But he got no positive answers from the weather experts as they themselves were not sure. Sadly, Value returned back. He was very tired and thirsty by that time, and thus wanted to rest for a while. He saw a large tree. Its shade was cool and inviting. As he sat down, he noticed that an old woman was also sitting there, sheltering from the sun. She was old, but her eyes were bright when she smiled. So, she looked at Value and her smile grew wider. Value noticed a large tree whose shade seemed very cool and inviting to him. He went near the tree to sit and rest, and there he noticed an old woman who was sheltering herself from the sun. When Value looked at her, she gave a very bright smile to him. "What are you smiling at, Amma?" Value asked. "Without the rains, there's nothing to smile about." Yes, you are right," the old woman said. She stopped smiling. So Value questioned Amma as to why she was smiling and added that there was nothing to smile about without the rains. The old woman agreed and thus stopped smiling. "I wonder why this is happening," Value began. "I have worked hard and honestly, yet I am being punished. Without the rains, no crop will grow. What will happen to me? How shall I feed my family?" he asked sadly. He was not speaking to anyone in particular, but the old woman thought that he was speaking to her. "Perhaps you have worked too hard," she said. Value, in disappointment, started talking to himself. He was sad because he was fully dedicated towards his work and had worked honestly, but without rainfall his crops won't grow. He was worried that what will happen to him and how will he feed his family. Hearing all this, the old woman thought that Value was talking to her and thus replied that perhaps he had worked too hard. "What do you mean?" "I have only done what any hard-working farmer would do. I shall work and never rest until I am too old. This is the first season in 6 years that I have not sown nor plowed. Oh, it is hard not to be able to walk," said Value a little angrily. So Value was a little angry as it was difficult for him to stay without sowing the seeds or plowing his field. He wanted to work as a hard-working farmer until he gets old. "But my son, that is what I am talking about. You have strength now. You can walk without a break. But have you thought about the land? The earth works too when you plow and sow and plant. The earth has worked for years, in fact thousands of years. The soil, the land, the earth. Shouldn't someone let the land rest a bit?" the old woman said, softly smiling. The old woman replied very kindly to Value that he was young and so has strength to walk continuously without any break. But the earth, on the other hand, has already walked for thousands of years without any rest. When we plow, sow and plant, the earth too walks along with us. We should let the land rest a bit. "Rest? Let the land rest? I don't understand." Value looked at her a little puzzled. "Yes, my son, that is the problem. You don't realize that the earth is old, but nature is a mother to all of us, to you and to me, and to the trees, the water and the soil. She takes care to give her children the rest they need," the old lady said. Value began to understand. Value was unable to understand how the land can take rest. The old lady explained that we don't realize the earth being old. Nature is a mother to all of us, including the trees, the water and the soil. Nature takes care of everyone as her children. Slowly, Value began to understand. When the rains don't come, you are unhappy. But that way the land is left alone. The land lies resting, staring at the sky. and when the rains come, it will be fresh and ready for your crop. Go home, my son. Nature knows a thing or two. Go home, she said and got up. The old lady advised Value to go home and let Mother Nature do things in its own way. When there is no rainfall, farmers like him become sad. But on the other hand, the land gets time to take rest as it is left alone. It keeps on staring at the sky, and when there will be rainfall, the land will be fresh and ready for the crops. She walked away. After a while, Value too got up and walked home. He thought about the land, his beloved piece of land. If the old woman was right, his land was perhaps resting peacefully, taking a break after years of cultivation. The old lady got up and walked away. Value too got up after a while and started walking back home. Now he was full of positivity. He thought of his piece of land which was loved by him very much. He was glad that his land was taking rest after several years of cultivation and hard work. Perhaps she is right, he thought as he approached the village. It was already evening. The sun was low in the sky. And what was that? Value felt tiny drops on his shoulder. He looked up. Yes, the clouds were gathering in the distance. It was growing dark. Soon there would be lightning and thunder and sweet fragrant rain. Value ran home laughing and happy. So by the time Value reached his village, it was already evening. He was busy thinking that the old woman was right. Then suddenly, Value felt tiny drops of rain on his shoulders. And when he looked up the sky, he saw the clouds gathering and growing dark. Value came to know that there will be thunder and lightning followed by rainfall. He happily ran back home laughing and smiling. So in this chapter, we learned how Value's hope turned to reality. As he started thinking of the Mother Nature, nature too looked upon him and showered sweet drops of rain, thus getting his wishes fulfilled.